Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, heard Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on PSA.com and the PSA Facebook page. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by PSA and the National Sports Collectors Convention. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, visit sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now, your hosts, Tom Zappala and John Molori.
You know, see what happens when you start early?
You know what your problem is? You talk too much before the show.
Well, I had to find.
Talking. You don't have your first script ready to go.
I had to find my headline.
You notice how quiet I am before the show?
You are.
Because I ramp up.
No, that's because you drink before we go on the air.
And also a little, sometimes during.
But listen, this is a special show because, first of all, welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. This one, we have two icons. Actually, one icon and a, what do you call the other guy?
Jerk.
No, I don't know. No, we have actually two, in my opinion.
Two of the best.
Strictly my opinion.
Absolutely.
There are, I'm going to piss off a lot of people, but so what? There are major auction houses, and there are lesser auction houses because of their size. Not
lesser, but
smaller.
Right.
These are two of the titans: Lelands. Mike Heffner from Lelands. Grady from Heritage. All right, Derek Grady.
He has a first name.
Derek Grady. And then, of course, we've got JP and we've got Brian Dwyer and we got Brian Drent. I mean, those are the five, biggies, right?
Yeah.
So we've got Heff on, we've got Grady on, and today's headline is from JP.
It's a big-time show.
High-grade 1933 Gowdy cards bring seven figures in the memory lane auction. A quintet of high-grade 1933 Gowdy Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig cards sold for over $2.7 million as Memory Lane closed out its spring rarities auction early Sunday morning. And I have a little bitch about that. I'll tell you about it. The cards were part of a large collection curated by the late Manny Gordon, a diamond dealer and avid collector who sought out some of the best examples he could locate. I'm not going to go into what was sold except the Ruth sold for, how much did the Ruth sold for? $942,000 or something like that. Anyways, for more information, you can go to sportscollectorsdaily.com to read the whole article. Our good friend Rich Miller. But I got to tell you guys something. I did put a bid in on the recommendation of Grady and Tomasulo, Joe Orlando. I put a bid in for the Christy Mathewson sign ball. Now, I got to ask you guys a question.
You told me that.
The way this stuff works. I'm being honest with you. I put a bid in for $34,000.
Okay.
For the Mathewson ball because you know what I'm trying to do with my collection.
Yes.
Now, the auction ended at 7, and it said that, the bidding every 15 minutes until the bidding stops, they're going to keep bidding till 15 minutes.
Right.
So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I grab my phone, and I lean over, and I'm still high bid. And I'm kind of psyched. As a matter of fact, I nudged Ellen. I said, hey, I think I got the ball.
She
right?
must have loved that.
I get a text from Tomasulo at 4:30 in the morning. He says, Zap, you lost. Ugh.
What the hell?
I lost the damn auction. I was so pissed.
Wow.
What do you guys think? I did introduce them.
Yeah, you did.
I think you did.
So the 15-minute rule it's time to move on to the 30-minute rule, so it ends at a normal time. This thing where it goes all night, we're the only business that still does that. Right. The only collectible business that auctions can go all night. Some go into the next day at 7, 8, 9 in the morning. Gives the advantage to the East Coast. You're in bed with your footy pajamas on and your nightcap, like old people do.
Yeah.
And, you were disappointed you lost it. I get it.
Half, what do you think?
I just have one question. Why did Joe T call you to tell you lost? Why didn't he call you to tell you that you weren't the high bidder anymore?
Because that's Joe T. That's Joe
Oh,
T.
okay.
Oh, yeah, that's
That is
Joe
a
T.
good explanation.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. It's Joe Tomasulo.
That is a good explanation.
All right,
Love
listen,
Joe.
a couple
Love Joe,
things.
but it sounds like his MO.
That is.
You know?
All right, so listen, we're really pleased. We asked Derek to join us with Mike Heffner from Lelands. Heff, tell us about the auction, man. You got a blockbuster going. Tell us about it.
Well, I'm not too pleased that Derek is joining us, but
we should have checked with him.
This is just sprung on me at the last minute. Like I just saw Derek's face pop up there, and I'm like, "Who the hell is that?" Oh, that's Derek. Oh man. But no, we're actually really good friends, very close, and I think that's one of the things that's pretty cool about this it's collecting and this industry is that I have a lot of close friends that are competitors, and we don't even look at each other as competitors. We look at each other as friends, and we pretty much do anything in the world for each other. That's what a lot of people don't realize. They don't see that.
And we've talked about that in the past.
Yeah,
we've talked about.
I'm not talking about everybody. There's certainly some that I don't get along with, but the majority, I think Derek and I, we probably share that thing where we get along and we talk to our competitors, and we're actually very, very close.
It's almost like a fraternity. You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
And, you can see it at shows too when you guys are actually with each other. There's great interaction all across the board.
Yeah, and we speak the same language, so we live this stuff. But the auction we have going on now, I actually have the catalog in front of me, and I said to Jillian, I said, "Hey, you better give me a catalog because I didn't look at it yet, and I'm supposed to talk about this stuff." So
sounds like Grady.
This is just me lately. I'm just like 53 years old, and I'm absent-minded, so I got to be reminded of this stuff. But no, we do have some great stuff. There's another Tom Brady rookie card in there. We have we've handled probably more than anyone now. There's a bunch of Brady balls, game used balls. There's one from the Deflate game. We have a good array of memorabilia, some really nice game used bats, a Cobb game used bat. It's a little bit lower grade, but it's something if someone doesn't want to spend $1 million plus on a Ty Cobb bat. Yeah. This one is one that's going to sell reasonably, and by reasonably it could sell for $100,000. But some of the lower grade bats now are pretty desirable because you can't get a Cobb or a Ruth bat.
Right.
It's graded at 10 for under $1 million. So there are a lot of nice cards, a lot of modern cards, there are vintage cards in there. We have a Ruth rookie that's a little bit lower grade. That again, it's not going to be $1 million card, but if somebody wants a Ruth rookie card and they want it in lower grade and they don't, spend a couple $100,000 instead of a couple million, it's probably a good one for them. So there's an array of stuff. It's all up there on Lelands.com.
Heff, you have to talk to us about the Will Chamberlain 100-point collection. That's very unbelievable. Cool. It's something I haven't seen, in doing this show anyway.
It's pretty cool stuff. I mean, that game, I forget the attendance on it, but it was really low. And it was held at Hershey, which isn't far from where Derek and I live. It's only about an hour away. So, we hear more about this in Pennsylvania, about this game, probably than anybody else does.
Right.
But we should also see more tickets and programs than anybody else does. And we don't. I mean, they're so rare. I don't know. There's a handful of those tickets out there, and that's it. The stubs. And we've been fortunate enough to handle a couple of them. And I remember when they were selling for $5,000 a piece. Now, if they're in a slab, PSA grading them has really taken the level up and putting a pop report out. Those tickets are now they're just a tiny little stub, but some of them are selling. This one could sell for $100,000. It wouldn't surprise me.
Just to follow up, Zab, and both you guys can chime in on this. Will Chamberlain's one of those guys who was the superstar, maybe of all superstars in the NBA, but he was before the Bird Magic era. I feel like everyone after the Bird Magic era got much more attention for what they did on the court. Where's Chamberlain in the hobby? It seems to me we don't hear enough about him. He's kind of the stuff of legend because the NBA was kind of a backseat sport, to be honest, when he was in his heyday. Can you talk about him a little bit generally in the hobby?
Both of you.
Both you guys can chime in on that.
I mean, he's clearly a legend. I mean, his rookie card has always been popular. I thought he was always more popular than Bill Russell, who won 11 championships. I mean, Chamberlain was, after Mike and as this guy that's like 9 feet tall, so dominant, celebrity, I mean, he's legendary with women. If you remember that, I remember when that came out.
Right.
You know,
Almost like you, right?
yes, me too. Yeah, me and Will have something in common.
Well, it was like me in my college days.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Except his weren't
big partier.
inflatable. But anyway.
But no, I don't think he's underrated at all. I think Russell's been getting a lot of attention lately because his collection was for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some jerseys sold for big numbers, and he's obviously very popular. But Chamberlain is a legend and still obviously very sought after by collectors. No question whatsoever.
Heff, I'm going to touch upon this subject because we talked to Jordan week before last about this, and I think Derek, you and I talked about it. You guys really you took the high road on the Brady quote last touchdown pass. You guys really did. You guys got a lot of great press when it happened, and then you got a lot of great press when you guys made the decision to do what you did. Do you mind talking about that briefly?
No, not at all. And I just want to add one thing to the Wilt Chamberlain story. He was such a classic, just a he was pop culture,
Yeah, right.
He kind of, but he years ago we got a collection in from someone. We ultimately gave the collection back because it was consigned to us through a third party, but it turns out they weren't supposed to actually have the stuff. So we gave it back. But I can tell you from that collection, there were some things in there, a lot of Polaroid photos that I got to see. And the stories about Will.
All true?
Definitely true.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
He was a man of the women's. He definitely liked his women.
Very
and there was
interesting.
proof in that collection. So that was
that is classic.
Good to know.
Ultimately, I'm probably glad.
Look at the smile on Grady's face.
It was something that just wasn't going to go over well. But sometimes we're known for controversial items, and that definitely would have been one, but it never came to fruition.
Talk about the Brady.
But the Brady ball, I think from the very start, like the day after the auction, we kind of knew what was going to happen. The ball wasn't worth quite as much. The day after the auction,
right. Nothing
like that ever happened. I think Derek can say that nothing can agree with me that nothing ever happened like that in the entire hobby.
No.
So it's just something we were waiting to play out because we honestly didn't know if Brady was going to come back out and say, I retired again. I mean, who knows with this guy?
Right.
He could come out next week again and say, I'm retiring. I don't feel like playing. So we let it play out for a couple weeks, and ultimately did speak with the consignor and the purchaser, and we did what we felt was the best thing to do. We're certainly not here to stick any item down someone's throat, even though I'm not quite sure, legally what the grounds were, or but we knew what the right thing to do ethically was, and that was not force it down someone's throat.
Did anything and you guys maybe go back this far? Did anything like that happen with Jordan when he came back with the Wizards after that famous last shot with the Bulls? I mean, I don't recall anything like that, but
I don't recall anything.
No.
Yeah.
The hobby wasn't as strong either.
Right.
When that happened, now everything is so much more money, and
sure.
Come on, almost you wonder if Brady saw that. Why would you announce it literally the day after the auction?
That's a good point.
People were tweeting about it. People saw it. He saw it. There's no doubt he saw it. And I think that obviously Heff did the right thing. He's always going to. Theoretically, I would have waited too, because he could have changed his mind again. He still hasn't thrown another one. What's the status of the ball now, Heff? Is it back with the consignor, or did you privately sell it, or what happened to you?
No, we still have the ball in the safe. We had a lot of people after that news broke that we were rescinding the sale. We were trying to work. Several people called us and were interested in it, but then some people get cold feet. Some people got cold feet once again. So we still do have the ball. And like Derek said, it is the last touchdown pass that he threw. So
right now it is.
Right now it is.
it won't be until September.
That's
right.
right.
The neat thing about that ball is it's really, the record. He holds the record for playoff touchdowns. Also, far ahead of anyone else. So that ball, unless he goes to the Super Bowl again this year, the playoffs again this year, it'll still be a record ball if he doesn't. So
that's a good point. I never thought of that.
Ball.
Yep.
I'd never thought of that. We are chatting with Mike Heffner from Lelands, Derek Grady from Heritage. Derek, just briefly, what's going on with Heritage? You guys got some stuff going on.
Yeah, we're obviously always busy at Heritage. We have the David Hall auction up, whatever number it is.
452.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he just had so many.
They are now on the 1 millionth T206 card.
Yeah, he had a lot of T206s, but we've done great with the collection. It's generated a lot of interest. So that auction's up and live now. Then we have a June showcase auction, then our big July, that's the online only. Then we have a July card auction, and then move into Platinum Night where everything's on display at the National. So we always have a busy, and we'll probably do a separate registry auction, some kind of, there's always some, one-off auctions where a registry set or, somebody's collection. Got the Muhammad Ali auction coming up. That's part of the July.
So that's cool.
Sale.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Right now, as everybody knows, we're recording the show, and all the graphics and stuff you guys can't see, but when the show airs, you're going to see some cool graphics. And I want to bring this up. Mike, as everybody knows, our new book is being launched at the National. We're going to talk about that later. But Heff was kind enough to open up his house to Ellen and I and the photographer for the book. And some of the images, which you folks are seeing now, some of the images are just spectacular. And Mike, your collection, you can see, that's all Clemente stuff. That's all, game used, top quality, and those are going to be the page breaks. A lot of them, the page breaks. Heritage, they supplied us with some wonderful photos. Dave Kohler from SCP.
Yep.
But I got to tell you something, Heff. When I walked into your house, it was jaw-dropping. It was literally jaw-dropping. I mean, it was his collection. And Heff, if I'm giving too much information, tough. His collection it's Hall of Fame collection.
I can imagine.
I mean,
even the images look great. I can imagine seeing
Mike,
the things
I was just
in person,
blown away. And I want to talk about that later on because, you love music. You're a music guy. It's not just sports memorabilia. He had a collection of electric guitars, Michael, that was like amazing. And then my favorite, and I wore the Randy Macho Man Savage hat. Got the greatest wrestling collection. Are those all legit? Those are all costumes from every one of those wrestlers, right?
I think I try not to sprinkle in too many. There are a few things that are replicas that are signed, but I would say 98% of the collection is all ring worn. I have a hat from like Sergeant Slaughter that wasn't his hat, but it's a Marine Corps hat, that he signed. So I have a couple things like that, but out of, maybe 500 ring worn items or 500 items that, maybe 10 of them weren't ring worn and they're just props, but the other 495 or 490 are ring worn.
Heff, if you still collect wrestling items, you have to find the coconut that Roddy Piper used to hit Jimmy Superfly Snuka in the head on Piper's Pit, which to me was, it's like the USA beating Russia in '80, and that's the second greatest sports moment I've ever seen in my life.
I'm sure that it doesn't exist. I'm sure that thing was.
To hit a man with his native fruit. How do you top it?
Moment. And word in the street is like that really that thing. I don't know if you've seen interviews with Piper. He's confirmed that thing was not.
No, that was a real coconut. Yeah, that was legit.
A solid coconut. So,
I think it was in the second
I
line of
know
Piper's
some-
obit.
Was it?
He hit. I mean, that was great. The whole set went down. Great.
Yeah.
Derek, have you ever been? You've been to Mike's house, haven't you?
100 times.
Yeah. What do you,
Love the wrestling. Well, I mean, you can pick your own favorite stuff, but yeah, like when you talked about the rock and roll, the Eddie Van Halen guitar, the Elton John coat and hat. I mean, there's stuff in rock and roll, but it's really just the top quality of the bats and the jerseys or the pins or the baseballs or the trophy, whatever it is. It's just top quality. We always joke that I get his second, I get it, the stuff he passes on, basically. I get the lesser stuff because he gets the best stuff. But no, it's a great collection, but nobody, the amount of wrestling he has is truly unbelievable. And the signatures, the signed cards and the signed contracts of Andre, the Giant, which is tough signature, very tough on cards. This is really, really a special wrestling collection. I don't think a lot of people knew that.
Very cool stuff. All right, Derek, before we let you go, which the website address?
Wait, you're dumping me?
You're out.
Wow, that was easy. HA.com, go to sports.
HA, how's Provenzel doing?
Provenzel?
Yeah.
I don't even know if he works.
Well, let me
fancies himself as our social media person.
Well, let me tell you
auctioneers.
something. We get emails. We get emails from the female listeners and viewers, and I'm telling you, Prov is he's creeping up there, man. They think he is one hot guy.
Really? Well, all right. Don't tell him. Don't tell him that.
All right, Derek, we love you. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. Hef's going to stick with us. Derek, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.
Bye, you later.
Bye, Derek. Call you.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back, and we are chatting with our good friend Mike Heffner from Lelands. So, Michael, let's talk about some of the other cool items in the auction.
I was just breezing through the catalog, and I noticed the Tiger Woods items we have. We have some cool stuff. We have a complete set of the Masters winning badges, and they're all signed by him. I think it's the only complete set signed that is known. So I'll be really curious to see what that sells for. The new cards and actually the old cards that we have in there are pretty incredible. The difference between us and a lot of other auction houses is that we get a lot of fresh, ungraded sets in because we go back so far. We've been around for so long. Right. So a lot of people come to us with the sets that have been sitting in someone's closet for 30, 40, 50 years. We're fortunate to get a lot of that fresh raw material. So there's a lot of that in there. You'll see a lot more stuff in our auction typically that's ungraded, that's fresh to the hobby than other auctions. Some of the other things, we just have something for everybody. We have a Steph Curry jersey in there. We have a LeBron James jersey, both photo matched. So we have modern stuff. We have a Gil Hodges jersey from his first managerial stint with the Mets in 1967, I think it was. It just goes on and on. Derek Jeter bats, photography from the big collection we got, the Brown Brothers collection. Yeah. We're still sorting through that, and there's still a lot of stuff left. So there's not only photographs, there are negatives in there of Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb and Lou Gehrig. Very cool. And the negatives are, one-of-a-kind pieces, not like the photographs where there were several prints of them. The negatives are one-of-a-kind. So, there's stuff like that, a lot of it.
Very cool.
You have a lot of Jordan cards, Heff, and you have Jordan's sneakers from the style he wore his rookie season, kind of like the original Air Jordans, right?
Yep. Yes. Game-worn Air Jordans from rookie season. Another thing I really like in there is that we have a signed rookie card, and you don't see too many of those. The autograph and the card is graded by PSA. But my understanding is he won't even sign those cards anymore.
Really?
So, he hasn't for quite some time now.
Heff, let's switch gears for a minute. Tell our viewers and our listeners what Josh Evans meant to you and meant to Leland's.
He was that's a tough one, Tom. He was everything to me. He was my best friend. He was the driving force behind Leland's from the very beginning in the early 80s. He meant so much to the hobby. He was such a great personality, and he was an ambassador for our hobby. He taught me pretty much everything I know about the hobby. He taught me how to, most importantly, he taught me how to love the hobby and how to collect. And if I wouldn't have become a collector, I was a collector when I got in, but the memorabilia is what really turned me into, a fanatical collector. And he introduced me to all that stuff. So, I owe so much to him. I miss him every single day. It's tough working without him. It really is. Even the last few years when he was sick and really couldn't work, I talked to him every day, and he helped guide me through things. And I'm sort of, we're keeping it going. We're keeping Leland's going, and I feel good about that. With his name attached to it, and we'll always remember him. But I miss him every day, and it's a lot tougher.
In the very infancy stages of the Great American Collectibles Show, the very first year that we were on, Rico and Josh hit it off.
Yeah.
So I used to have Grady on every week. And then Josh says, hey, I want to come on every other week. So we brought Josh in every other week. And he made a comment to Rico and I when we were at the National. He says, I can't tell you guys how it just kind of energized me.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Heff, he was so freaking funny on the air. He was hysterical. I mean, he would sing. He was fantastic. And the highlight to this day of, we've done well over 250 shows, was the show that we did at the National with Rico and I. Were you there?
No.
Rico and I on stage with Josh, Grady, Ken Golden, and Joe Tomasulo.
Wow.
It was a free for all.
Wow.
For one solid hour, and there were thousands of people sitting there watching, laughing in the aisles.
Oh, my
laughing
Lord.
in the aisles.
Wow.
That was just a highlight of my personal. But it was great. And you know something? The guy was a legend. The guy was a legend in this hobby. I've never, ever heard a bad thing about Josh Evans.
I didn't know him, but I mean, you can just tell the way you talk about him. The other guys in the business talk about him. Let's talk about that a little bit, Heff, while we have you here with Lelands. And I'm sure Josh, obviously, big part of this. You know, what's your business model? What's your sort of customer service mission statement? What are you guys all about beyond the wonderful stuff you have in your auctions and the items themselves? How you deal with customers and the trust factor and all of that?
Well, I think, the service sort of speaks for itself. We've been around for 40 years now.
Yeah.
We've basically been doing the same thing. We have been trying to have one-on-one relationships with our customers. We haven't gotten too big. We've stayed around the same size. We've been trying to grow with the hobby as a hobby, but I still feel like we offer that personal service that a lot of companies don't offer any longer. You can still call me up, talk to me on the phone. I'd be happy to talk to hobby with anyone else.
Right.
If you have a question, you can call up and talk to one of our specialists. It doesn't have to be Simon. It can to ask a question. We're not going to push you into trying to get your item on consignment. We'd love to have it, I'm sure, if it's a great item, but you can call and ask questions. We have the we have the inside knowledge within our group of people here that we don't have to go to third parties, although we love PSA. We use PSA all the time, but we can answer most of your questions in-house, even when it comes to authenticity. And one of our strongest points, one of the things that I always try to push forward is just the factor of authenticity, and we don't want to sell anything that's not right.
Right.
Have we made mistakes in the past? Will we make mistakes in the future? Absolutely. But it's about making those mistakes right again. And I think people over the years have come to know us for that. If they're not satisfied with something, if something turns out to be rejected by a third-party authenticator, and we feel that we made a mistake, it's on us. We're taking it back. So, we are like that and always have been like that. So that is my number one mission in the hobby, is just try to make sure that everything that people are getting taken advantage of and everything out there that we put out there is real.
Sure.
Mike, you're a vintage guy, like a lot of us, and I wanted to get your take on the new influx of investors / collectors that have entered the hobby. And I'm talking about the younger generation. We've talked to Jordan a lot about it because Jordan falls into that demographic. What is your take on that? I mean, I have mixed feelings, to be honest with you, because I'm a vintage guy, and if you're going to invest, that's fine, but you should at least have a love for the hobby too. Are there a lot of investors out there that are investing for the sake of investing, like they were playing the stock market?
I think now more so than ever, the during the pandemic and here post-pandemic, I think we've attracted, our hobby's attracted a bunch of investors. And I think in the short term, it's like the stock market. There are people out there that see the quick and easy money, and they come in and they push the market up. But ultimately, it has to come back to earth. So I think we're seeing a little bit of a correction going on right now. I mean, I'm not saying this to be doom and gloom. I'm just saying this is a fact. And you see all these analytical shows on the stock market. Well, you can do the same thing with the baseball card market and the sports memorabilia card market.
Interesting.
Yeah. Hef, did I see in the auction you have right now that you have a football from the whole Deflategate controversy?
There was no Deflategate.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, the Roddy Piper coconut thing was the greatest story in sports. This is probably the worst story in sports I ever saw. But do you have something? Is it an actual football from that game?
We do. It's a football from the game. We actually sold a few years back. We sold a foot from the game also.
Okay.
So yeah, we do have one in there right now. So
how did you get that? Did you go into the Were you in the Patriots locker room?
He was there. He was there.
I was actually there. Was there. I was the guy who let the air out. So.
And by the way,
we appreciate that.
For our viewers, obviously the connection isn't great with Hef, but he says enough to get so you understand what he's saying. Hey, listen, before we continue, why don't you tell us about our friend Joe Drellick, another friend of Hef's, and the CSA show.
Well, Zap, CSA Shows is proud to present the Chantilly Show being held on June 24th to the 26th, held at the Dulles Expo Center, Chantilly, Virginia, just minutes from the Dulles International Airport. Celebrating over 25 years at the same location, there will be over 300 dealer tables exhibiting on over 100,000 square feet of space. With both modern and vintage sports cards, memorabilia, as well as modern-day sports treasures, you won't have to look very far for that special card, bat, ball, or autograph. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs. Some of the greatest players to ever grace the gridiron will be on hand, including Mel Blount, Chris Carter, Marshall Faulk, Doug Flutie, Mean Joe Green, Richard Seymour, and many, many more. For more information, go to www.csashows.com. That's the Chantilly Show, where you can find all of your sports collectible treasures.
Hef, is the bubble going to burst in your? I mean, how long can this go on for? This explosion in the hobby.
The bubble won't burst. The bubble just might become a little bit smaller. Some of the air is going to come out of the bubble. So I think we're seeing that now. I think some of the stuff is trending down a little bit. But on the other hand, memorabilia, things like bats, uniforms, I see that stuff still trending up. The stuff that is truly rare. Are the new cards, the 1 of 5s, the 1 of 10s, are they rare? Yes. Are they going to continue to hold their value and go up? I don't think so. I think those things are going to fluctuate.
You're talking about the manufactured rarities. Is that basically?
Yeah, the manufactured rarities. I think it's fine if you collect that stuff and you really love it. But the people who are speculating and trying to invest in it and to make a buck in the future, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to occur. I don't know how good that stuff's going to be in the future.
Good point.
I know the vintage stuff has lasted for 100 years now. People are still collecting it. So the modern stuff, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You are one of the reasons that I've switched gears with my particular collection, and I'm not kidding, because when I walked into your place, it really had an impact on me, the whole memorabilia thing, because it's something you can touch, it's something you can feel. That player's DNA is on that item.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. And that really kind of catapulted to me liquidating 90% of my T206 collection and gravitating towards some of the memorabilia that I've been buying. And Ellen's about to shoot me for doing so, but
you need to stop nudging her at 4:30 in the morning.
There's a difference between there's a big difference between trying to buy a Christy Mathewson signed ball and a Shag Shaughnessy T206 card.
Well, that's certainly flattering, Tom, and I'm glad that's the most satisfaction that I get out of the hobby when someone comes to me and says, "Hey, you inspired me to do something." And there aren't that many people, and that I guess there are a lot of people that I've spoken to, but there are very few people who have seen my collection, and I love showing my collection. It's just a matter of convenience sometime, but I'm really glad that you got to see it. And
it was just
and enjoy it.
I talked about it the whole way we drove home. I talked about it like 90% of the way. I said, "Did you see?" Because poor Ellen and the photographer, they're doing the layout.
Right. They're working.
Yeah. and I was in the Hall of Fame, so I was just going from room to room by myself. It was like having a private tour, just checking stuff out. And I'd be gone for 45 minutes. They were there for 5 hours.
Right.
And I'd be gone for 45 minutes at a time. Hey, you guys all right? Anything you need? Okay, be back. That's just what I did. Hey, listen. Go ahead. I'm
Certainly
sorry.
welcome back at any time. Anytime.
Well, I'll tell you. A little programming note regarding the new book, the Diamondbacks Collection,
Yes.
50 of the greatest cards in baseball history. We're moving the signing meet and greet venue at the National. So we're going to be signing our new book, the Diamondbacks Collection, at the East Coast Sports Marketing booth with our friend Joe Drellick.
Yeah.
We're going to be signing there. And this is a cast of characters. It'll be myself, obviously, along with Ellen and JM, who was a big contributor to the book. And then I convinced our friend, Mr. Joseph Orlando, is going to spend, because Joe co-authored the book with us, Joe is going to be there signing.
Nice.
And then James Fiorentino is going to have an amazing display of his artwork at the booth. And James, one of his artwork is distributed throughout our book.
Yep.
So James will be there to sign also. So if you want to get pretty good bang for your buck, this is going to be the only time that all 5 of us will be together for this book signing.
For this book, hopefully it's not the last time we're all together.
You're out. But anyway, so that's going to be at the Sports East Coast. Something I forgot to write the damn
East Coast
Sports Market, but I forgot to write the booth numbers down because I'm an idiot.
I'll
get those to you next week.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll hope you come and see us at the National, and we're going to be doing the show from the Burka stage on Friday from 1 to 3.
Yep.
And James is making a special presentation to Rico, but we're not telling Rico what it's all about.
Right.
What it's all about.
Yep.
Do you have a question for Heff?
I do, as a
I'm
matter
losing.
of fact. That was a horrible segue back into the show. I thought we were going to break from that.
No, we're going to keep him a couple more minutes.
I'm glad. Heff, I know you want. Zap said that you inspired him in his collecting. You're inspiring me to ask this next question, so I want you to know that. I know you're a vintage guy at heart, as my buddy here is, but NBA is taking off. I know you have some Luka Doncic items in your auction right now. Can you just talk about that? I think that maybe more with younger collectors or younger investors, but I mean Luka, Jason Tatum, John Morant, Zion Williamson, if he ever gets back. Can you just talk about what you have and maybe your thoughts on NBA cards and items in general right now?
I like it. I like the NBA. I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I think that, I look at my collection and I want a well-rounded collection. So I just went out and purchased. I have a Steph Curry jersey now, which I never thought I'd ever own. But I have one, and I also have a LeBron James jersey that I purchased not too long ago. We have both LeBron and Curry jerseys in the current.
Yeah, I saw
auction.
LeBron. You have his first Lakers jersey is what you have, right, for LeBron?
Yes, not his first Lakers, but the first style. The first time
style.
That
Correct.
style.
Correct. You're right.
So it's an important one, and it's a desirable one.
Yeah.
So I think basketball is definitely. I mean, I'm a baseball guy, but I think basketball in the future it already is a global sport. You know, baseball's not so much so, but I think you see, and we see it within the auctions. There are customers, you know, buying stuff now from China and Japan.
Sure.
And, you know, they're definitely it's definitely a global market. You don't see anybody in Japan or China, even Japan, where they have baseball, buying a lot of baseball stuff, but you do see them buying a lot more basketball stuff now. So I truly believe that the basketball stuff in the future and even in the present is really a hot commodity.
Yep.
Mike, before we let you go, your website address, simple enough.
It is Lelands.com.
Lelands.
You can view and bid on the entire auction up there. I think we have well over 1,000 lots in this one.
And when does the auction close, Mike?
Tom, I'm going to look at the cover of the catalog and tell you. It closes June 11th.
I was going to say June 10th. June 11th. Good. So you got that date. So you have plenty of time to bid. And keep this in mind for the 80% of the hobbyists that we talk to all the time that think like we do. There are a lot of affordable items.
Yes.
You don't have to spend $500,000.
Right.
You can spend a few $100. You can spend a few $1,000, but there's something for everyone. Michael, I can't thank you enough for coming, man. Getting you is like trying to get the Pope on the show, and we got you. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Nice to talk to you, Heff.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I think we're going to get a hold of Dave Kohler from SCP Auctions if he calls in. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Heffner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden Auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
With so many fakes out there, it's hard to figure out if the sneakers you want are real. But when you buy eligible sneakers on eBay, you can be confident they're genuine because every pair goes through a meticulous authentication process. Introducing eBay Authenticity Guarantee. First, the sneakers you've purchased are inspected by a team of professional authenticators who carefully examine the shoes, including color, pattern, logos, and materials. Then they're measured and compared to the eBay listing to make sure they match. Even the laces, accessories, and box are checked. Once your sneakers are verified, they receive an authenticity tag, and every tag is NFC enabled so you can see the detailed specs. eBay Authenticity Guarantee. No fakes, no fraud, no doubt.
And eBay is the place to go for all of your memorabilia, sports or non-sports cards, autographs, and much more. Whether it's a gift for that special someone or you just want to add to your collection, eBay's huge marketplace should be your first stop. And if you sell, now's the time to flip those cards and get some extra cash. I shop on eBay all the time. That's eBay, connecting buyers and sellers globally.
You know, you should really consider buying me something for my birthday on eBay. Coming up in June.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sign this ad, and I'm going to give this to you.
I'll pass. Okay. All right, let's bring in our next guest, good friend, Dave Kohler from SCP Auctions. David, how you doing?
Hi, Dave.
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good.
You guys are already fired up. Well, you're 3 hours ahead of me, so you guys are well awake.
That's right.
Anyway.
That's right. We forgot.
Yeah, we've already started drinking, Dave, so we're good.
Dave, we're going to keep you right through the. You know, we're going to be doing other stuff, but we're going to keep you right through the end of the show, if that's okay. We've got about 10 or 15 minutes, whatever we have. So we're going to keep you. But let's talk about the SCP auction. What do you have going on?
Oh, we got some great stuff. Actually, this sale is one of our best ever. It's currently taking bids in. We started May 18th, and it ends on Saturday, June 4th. And there is just everything in cards and memorabilia, high-end cards, obviously high-end memorabilia. Lot one is, I guess, the star of the sale. We have Kobe Bryant's game-worn jersey that's been uncovered from his rookie season home gold, the purple and gold.
Yeah,
that's been uncovered. It's been photo matched by all three of the marquee photo matching services, along with his first playoff game. So he wore it toward the end of his regular season, and then his debut playoffs, all the home games.
Very cool.
And we expect that to bring $3 to $5 million.
I mean, that's unbelievable. But you know what? Understandable. I mean, and sadly, since his passing, it's not that people didn't appreciate him, but that's sometimes the way it goes. You miss his presence, you miss his impact. Can you talk about him a little bit in the hobby, Dave, in general?
And you're a basketball guy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he's in that upper echelon of guys,
Yeah, no, he is obviously. Personally, I have the largest Laker collection actually in the world. So, going back to Minneapolis where it all started, I've collected that for 35 years on a personal level.
Yeah.
And so I have a ton of great Kobe Bryant memorabilia. Is one of my favorites of all time, going to all the games and watching him, his 20 years on the Lakers, 5 championships, and just being one of the all-time great players. And his collectibles are very much everything about him, is collected. Is obviously his autographs, his game-worn jerseys, of course, his game-worn shoes and all that. And I think the story is still going to be told. As a lot of these documentaries are coming out and different series and that on a lot of the players and teams. And Kobe's is still, hasn't been long enough since unfortunately the accident. With all the people that passed away, including his daughter.
Absolutely.
But when those stories come out, people will see what his true story was to the game. And that was just his first career.
Right.
He had a lot of things that he wanted to do.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for women's basketball. His story was still untold.
That's what I mean. The impact of what he would have done maybe is as great. David, I'm a Celtics fan from way back. It's our first time meeting. I'm not going to hold the Laker thing against you. But speaking of the Lakers and the Celtics, you have an array of championship rings. Can you talk about that, what you have available? They looked stunning.
Yeah, we have quite a few. We have some Super Bowl rings, including the Patriots from 2018, the big monster ring that looks like it's a paperweight, and some World Series rings. We also have a 1984 Boston Celtics ring that was given to one of the executives in this sale.
That's got to be a hard one for you to look at.
Not really.
Okay.
I've handled actually, it's not being a big Laker fan because we've actually handled the collections in our history, SCP Auctions. We've sold the collections for Bob Cousy, John Havlicek.
That's right. You
Red
handled the
Auerbach.
Cousy one. I forgot about that.
Joe
Right.
White,
Yes.
Sam
Right.
Jones. So we've handled all those.
I forgot that he handled Cousy.
Yeah.
It's
when
business.
it comes to business, business is business.
Absolutely.
So I love handling all this.
I got to tell you
doubt.
something, David. The fondest memories. I grew up with the Celtics as John did, but I'm a little older than you guys. I went to the Garden so many times and saw those great teams with Jerry West and Elgin and Gail Goodrich and Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. They were just great teams. Teams.
Yeah, the history was there. They played so many times in the finals. And, we know like in the 80s Showtime, right? Lakers Showtimes, they won 5 of the 10 years. But it was really the Lakers-Celtics rivalry in the 80s with Larry Bird and Magic Johnson.
Absolutely.
That really took the league to the all-time level.
To another level.
Michael
Changed the
Jordan
game.
came in, and the rest it's just taken off from there. And as you know, it's an international, so much interest internationally everywhere around the world. And it's a great, great game.
Right.
So,
what are some of the other things in the auction, Dave?
we have some really high-end cards. A 51 Bowman Mantle and an 8 that's going to estimate $400,000 to $500,000. His rookie card. We have some Gowdy Gehrigs and 8s from the 1934 series. We actually have a 33 Gowdy Gehrig in a mint 9 SGC that's in the sale. That's going to bring a lot of money, 6 figures, of course. And then we have we have a lot of modern cards too, as you know. That market has been on fire. And going back to Kobe Bryant, we have the Precious Metals Gems 1997. As you guys know, that's probably the most popular card of Kobe Bryant, along with Michael Jordan, and they've sold for up to $2 million. We have number 60 of the 100 that were ever made, holder by PSA, and it's the only one that Kobe ever autographed that's ever been seen or uncovered.
So
we expect that to bring up to $1 million, and there's a lot of interest in that card.
Great auction,
David. To change gears, you are you're on the verge of becoming a TV personality, major TV personality. Why don't you tell us about? You're going to be now. Are you doing? Is that the same spot that Dan was doing, Danny Welkin?
Yes.
On Pawn Stars with Rick Harrison. Tell us about it. And when does it all start?
It's been we already done quite a few episodes, and then the season ended last month, so we have a little break over summer. But no, it's a lot of fun.
It's great.
I had no idea till I went there and started filming how big this show really is worldwide. And obviously you've got these cast of characters. And Corey, and I mean they keep it a lot of fun on the set. And I had no idea until I went there and started filming that it's like the top 10 destination in Las Vegas for people to go.
Oh, I heard that. Sure, I read that. Sure. Yeah, that's like, but the behind the scenes stuff surprising to you of the way the whole dynamic works?
It's really neat how they do it. Actually, because of COVID, we'll see if this changes later. They built another set in the back of the store that we actually go and film on.
Oh, wow.
That they've done the last couple of years, for COVID restrictions. So we're
Gotcha.
not there with the public that comes in because it really is a destination for people to show up, visit, buy things there, and they see the TV show and all that. They were telling me recently, like they're like the #1 show in Brazil right now for some reason.
Unbelievable.
And,
we are chatting.
A lot of fun.
We're chatting with Dave Kohler from SCP Auctions. Hey, before we get a little too far, we've got a few minutes left. Our giveaway this week is a signed Rico Petrocelli. This is one of his 67s.
I love that.
Now, last week we mentioned that we're doing it a little different now. The Staten Island Joe Marino bag has gone into the trash.
Yep.
And we have decided, between all of us, we're going to be giving away an item every week going back to our oldest and most loyal viewers and listeners. And
so it's fixed.
No, it's not fixed. It's that we're looking at the analytics. We're looking at the people that have watched the most.
There's no analytics you're looking. There's no analytics.
We are on the Facebook page.
No analytics.
Oh, yeah, you just go back on the Facebook page.
Yeah, but you just go by the name.
Well,
all of a sudden you're Billy Bean. Stop.
Anyways, Stan Orr is the guy that gets it.
I like this unit. This is a unique Red Sox unit. They only had it for a little bit. The gray with the navy blue Boston with the red trim around the
I know.
letters.
That's
seriously, they only had that like for a year.
Is that wool?
It's wool.
It is wool.
It is wool.
So, Stan Orr, you've been with us since day one.
Stan.
6 years. You get it. You know the routine.
I love it.
So, it is what it is.
A lot of analytics went into that, Stan.
Listen to me. All you do is you look at the Facebook page.
I know it, I understand that. It's part of my job. But
oh, excuse me. Let's not go down that road. David, before we let you go, what else? Anything else relative to the auction?
What stands out? Dave?
Yeah, I mean, besides some of the items you've already talked about.
There's over 900 items we have in this sale. So there's a little bit for everybody, whether it's a few $100s, $500 to obviously millions of dollars. So, and everything in between. We have a collection that's really renowned. It's called the Capital Baseball Advertising Collection. There's over 50 different high-end advertisements of baseball going back to the early Lucky Strike and trolley car signs of Mathewson and Johnson and McGraw, all the way through the 50s, the Moxie soda pop of Ted Williams. We have a bunch of those signs, PF Flyers, a lot of those type of things. And then we have Babe Ruth's game used bat, 44 ounces from 1920 era when his first
44 ounces.
The New York Yankees.
That's a tree. That's a tree.
Jeez.
God almighty.
So a lot of great stuff. A high-end McGuire bat from the year that he hit 70 home runs. Tons and tons of vintage cards and sets. We have a whole run of sets from the 50s and 60s, all PSA graded, that are going to bring a lot of money. 1955, 59, 57, 61, and so on and so forth. A lot of great stuff across all the categories.
Very cool. Very cool. Before we end it, if you guys want, the Cracker Jack collection won the silver medal. Ippy Award.
Famous story. We won't get into it.
No, we won't get into that. But it's a great book. You can go to tomzappalamedia.com. It's on sale now for $20. It's a $30 regular retail.
Great book.
It's a good book. We won silver.
Silver. That was the
David,
grouse.
is that a silver on that?
Yeah, that was the grouse.
It looks like silver to me.
Yeah,
that was
we won the
grouse.
silver medal nationally, so we're very proud of it.
Dave, don't ask me about the silver that day.
No, we'll talk about that another time.
I want to put that book with the silver label on there. Can we put that in our next auction?
Absolutely. We'll send you one.
Let's do it.
Not a problem.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Dave.
David, your website address?
scpauctions.com. Come visit. It's open to everybody. Bids are through June 4th. It's open 24 hours a day. Just register real quick if you aren't already in our database, and you're off and running.
Fantastic. Wish you the best with
Thank
the
you,
auction.
Dave.
JM, as always, it's been a pleasure.
Great to be back.
It's good to see you, man. Good to see you. Last week you were like Parts unknown.
Parts unknown.
But that's
right.
okay. We
I'm
made
back
it
now.
happen. David, thank you very much. Chrissy, good job again.
The best.
To our viewers and listeners, thank you so much. You guys have been great. We're going into our 7th year.
Crazy, man.
Very, very crazy. With that being said, happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.